Philadelphia Eagles guard Michael Jordan, he probably has a real path to the Eagles' initial 53-man roster. But let's be honest here, making the team and actually fitting what the offense needs are two very, very different things. When I watched this tape, the pass protection stood out to me immediately. Listen, I'm going to give this man credit because he's very composed, he's super technically sound, and he's difficult to beat cleanly. But I had to ask myself a very important question when making this analysis for this video. Is it more important to be solid in pass protection for this offense, or to be a person or an individual along the interior offensive line that can displace interior defensive linemen? And that's where I ran into some difficulty with today's video. Because in the run game, I kept seeing the same exact issue. He just doesn't displace. He doesn't drive. He doesn't move people off the line. He cannot consistently generate enough power or movement at the point of attack to be like a real factor. They were constantly shifting and moving this guy. He was the puller, often in a gap in power scheme. So they were kind of working around a little bit of his limitations. And I don't even think that he was honestly that successful at the second level moving, to be honest. He had, it was a little hit or miss. So today, I'm going to show you why Michael Jordan is probably going to survive the final cutdowns, where I think his game will actually help us in terms of, the offense. But I'm also going to share with you why I think the Eagles could potentially be making like a really, really bad decision here. And I'm not comfortable relying on him as the primary backup guard. But I'll also just not say that. I'll actually provide a few examples for you guys of maybe the way that I would shape it, even though deep down in my gut's telling me this young man's probably going to make the initial 53-man roster. But I do think there are better options even within, this team right now. I think they're young. I think they're inexperienced, but I do think they have way higher upsides. And I would probably depend upon them way more in this situation. All right, y'all. Let's get to the tape. Guys, when we talk about Michael Jordan, the football player, we got to discuss just how much this young man was used, because he's been active for 78 games and he started 49, which accounts to 3,537 snaps in the NFL. If you compare that to a guy like Big Fred, who's probably one of our next, most experienced players in terms of the reserves, Big Fred has been active for 79 games, so one more game active than MJ, but he's only started 22 games. And he's only played 1,871 snaps compared to the 3,500 snaps MJ has played in the league. Just to put this into perspective a little bit. With that said, X's and O's, guys. All right, I'm going to take you down here for an ace double wing split. And what I want to show you with this play is I want to show you what this looks like without putting more stuff into it, okay? So you can see right here, you have your wide receivers who are going to be tight to formation. But what we would call here is like being a reduced or a condensed alignment. Okay, then you got your wing backs off of your tackles, all right? Quarterback is under center. Running back's about 6 yards deep. Keep in mind, guys, we are paying attention to a Josh Grizzard drawn-up play. He was the offensive coordinator for the Bucs last year. Let me flip it over and give you some more detail. All right, ace, double wing split. I want you to take a look at what's going to happen here. The first thing I want you to pay attention to, okay? The lines I'm drawing here, guys, these are the numbers, all right? That's the numbers. And then that checkered, weird thing I drew here, guys, that's your hash. That's your, your essentially what I'm giving you is your hash marks. That's just that way you can see, guys, the ball is centered. See where the center is, see where the hash marks are. We're centered here on the line of scrimmage. And now I want you to pay attention to your tight end who's playing as a wing, number 87, right? They're going to take number 87, guys, and number 87 is going to go into motion, all right? You have to understand the front they're playing against right now. The front they're playing against is putting 8 people in the box, starting with number 56, that 3 technique, the 2-eye, the other 3 technique, number 27, and then you got number 3, you got number 0, you got number 55 all in the box, okay? So they're trying to account for what to do here. And they're going to utilize their tight end in motion to take care of this situation, okay? After that, guys, what you have to really pay attention to is what I'm trying to show you is the way they're utilizing Michael Jordan. This guy played a lot in terms of being placed and put into motion because he just does not do a great job being singled up. That is not his strength, guys. He is not a big on big player. This is not a, what I would even call an inside zone or even a, just any kind of like physical play here, right? He's not going to run duo, inside zone, big on big man, kind of situations. So they're taking him as the left guard, and he's coming around and shooting up right by the tackle, your right tackle. Then he's going to work his way up to the second level to the linebacking core, okay? Your center is going to kick and kind of do this pin action here on the 3 technique on the backside here. And then essentially you're going to work up to your second level where you can with your other players, right? Your center's kicking out. The left tackle will kick out to 56. All right, your right tackle's kicking out to that 3 technique. Your other wing back is actually going to climb and get to the second level and try to cut off 55. And then you got your motion, the tight end we put in motion, guys, who climbed up to 27, okay? The other player you need to watch out here is what your wide receivers are doing. One wide receiver is doing a crackback block on number 3. Your next wide receiver, guys, which is number 13, that's Evans. Evans is going to start off and kind of come up towards number 55, but then he's going to climb up to the secondary and take that safety out. All right, let's watch the results of the play. And you'll see what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to knock Michael Jordan. I think that this is a very experienced player. This is a guy who's going to get a lot of looks. He's going to get a lot of opportunity, a lot of chances to earn opportunities for the Eagles. I just don't think that, honestly, he's as talented as Micah Morris and some of the other guys we have on the roster. More experienced, definitely setting a floor. If I had to take a wild guess this far out of things, guys, like, is he going to be a part of the Philadelphia Eagles? 53-man, roster, the initial one? I think there's a high probability. You never know. I mean, he's got to go out there and earn it even as a veteran. But, I mean, you could see right away from what I presented to you today, guys, this is the most experienced guy that we have. And I also wanted to show you Josh Grizzard because I do think Josh Grizzard is kind of similar to guys like, I don't think he's that far off from Nick Sirianni. I don't think he's that far off from Kevin Patullo. Don't shoot me, guys. Hang in there. Brian Johnson. I don't think he's that far off from even, guys that have come through before, Shane Steichens of the world. I think he's philosophically in the way that he, what I see on tape here, very similar to those guys, right? Difference is we're seeing him play more reduced splits. See where your tight ends are lined up. There's your numbers. There you go. We're inside the numbers, right? Both of our wide receivers inside the numbers. So we're looking at them being in a reduced split and what we would call a condensed formation. All right, we're utilizing wing backs. It's not something foreign to the Philadelphia Eagles guys. And a lot of gap. I mean, you can see here that he's running a crap ton of gap, which is congruent with what we've seen the Philadelphia Eagles do quite a bit throughout the years, man. They run a lot of inside zone and duo with a lot of gap and power. Like, probably going to be a little bit of a change. I don't think all elements of this stuff is going to disappear. I think that's an overestimation on some people's part. I don't think we're going to completely disappear from what we used to do successfully. But obviously, you're going to see more of the Shanahan outside zone stretch play stuff is going to get mixed in more than it has in the past. But I just wanted you to see this play, guys. I wanted you to see what they're trying to do fundamentally and how this player kind of does and at the same time doesn't fit. I just don't think you can use him in an inside zone duo, big on big. I just don't think he's good at that. And I don't even think he's particularly spectacular at working to the second level, even when he's, the puller. I don't think he's particularly great at that either, to be honest. When it comes to left guard Michael Jordan, okay, I really had to ask myself one question in regards to Michael Jordan, which is, this guy's got a ton of playing experience. That part is true. The Eagles do lack kind of that interior offensive lineman with a ton of playing experience, and this guy is the most experienced backup on the team right now. That part of the story can't be avoided. But when I was really digging down deep into asking questions and trying to seek the answers for myself in terms of, does he fit what we're trying to do here, right? Like, is this guy a person that you can get behind in terms of the run game and he could be a real impact factor? Because I do think that no matter how we feel about Devontae Smith and some of these receivers coming in and the fact that we feel like the passing game is going to get expanded upon, I still feel like we all know that the heart and soul of this team, it's going to be through the run game. And when I was trying to figure out if I was going to place Michael Jordan on the roster, because I do think there is a very legit chance that this guy makes the team. I just roughed out like a sketch. If I was coming out with no training camp reps to elevate one player over the other, like if I had to line up and play a preseason, keyword here, guys, is preseason game tonight, how would I, what would my second team look like, basically? I was like, well, right now I'd probably say it's Fred Johnson at left tackle.
It's Michael Jordan at left guard. It's Jake Majors at center. I think they're trying out Drew Kendall along the entire interior offensive line, so I got him at right guard. And then Markel Bell at right tackle. And then I started asking myself, but now, we can talk about if we think like over time, like, Willie Lampkin. Willie Lampkin's going to elevate above a Jake Majors, right? You can say like a Jaden Roberts is going to elevate above a Holland Pierce, right? Subtle moves like that, Then you got to ask yourself, though, if you're forming 10 men, we're going to keep 10 players on the roster at the offensive line, right? We know we got Mailata. We know we got Dickerson. We know we got Jurgens. We know we got Steen. We know we got Johnson. And we also got to say, not just forming a 10-man roster, but we also got to keep in mind that, darker days are ahead of us, right? We don't know that Lane Johnson is going to play another season past this year, right? Landon Dickerson's, future is uncertain. I feel a little bit more secure about Cam Jurgens, but, that could potentially be a problem in itself. And Tyler Steen's on a contract here. So you got to keep that crap in mind, too. So when I looked at Michael Jordan, I'm like, okay, I know this dude has a better than average chance of making the freaking roster. However, what's being lost here? Because if I keep Michael Jordan on the roster, right, and I only keep 10, you could say, well, they'll keep 11, Steve. Well, then you're taking from another position group. But if I only keep 10 of these guys, and Michael Jordan's one of the 10, am I going to take off my, 6th-round pick in Micah Morris? One of the players that I think has a crap ton of upside. I think this dude is particularly good in not only pass pro, not just pass protection, but I think this dude is actually like someone who can sustain in the run game. This dude can displace interior defensive linemen. I'm pretty high on Micah Morris. This is not a player that I would want to lose, right? What if you're a really big fan of Willie Lampkin, right? I mean, I think Willie Lampkin could beat out Jake Majors. I don't think Jake Majors is a real threat to make the roster, right? But if you're keeping a guy like Michael Jordan and you're going to keep a guy like Micah Morris, well, that doesn't leave room for Willie Lampkin then, does it? Right? You look at a guy like, Jaden Roberts, one of the UDFAs, pretty much the only real UDFA I think has a legitimate shot at potentially making some noise in camp. I am excited to see Holland Pierce. He's not a UDFA from this season. It's from the season prior, I believe. Holland Pierce played with, Rutgers, big kid, real big guy. I want to see what this guy has to offer because he's got the size. I mean, this is a Jordan Mailata-esque type body frame here at right guard. I'm interested to see if he can put it together with time and reps. But Jaden Roberts is a guy, right? You're looking at these two guys here. You have to give something up. A Willie Lampkin, a Micah Morris, right? Something has to be, Miles Hinton. Miles Hinton's been taking snaps at guard. You have to give something up. Cameron Williams. Cameron Williams is a guy that, probably isn't going to make the roster, but I thought he played pretty good in the season-ending game last season at right tackle. I thought he actually had some good reps, but with Markel Bell on the team, I think the Eagles would love to find a way of retaining him, whether that's on the practice squad or whatever for the next season, because, you're going to have a really inexperienced Markel Bell potentially playing as the starting right tackle. You probably want another young guy just in case, Something has to be given up, man. That's the problem I'm having when I'm looking at a guy like Michael Jordan, who is ridiculously good pass protector. In terms of pass protection, he might be one of the best on the damn roster in terms of an interior offensive lineman. The dude can pass pro. But, when you look at his run game snaps, guys, I'm definitely concerned with what I saw on the tape. I just don't think that it was good enough to place him on the roster, to be quite honest. And I try to be very guarded when I say these words, guys, because I'm talking about someone's NFL dreams here, man. This guy has done nothing to me personally or anything like that. And, when I am discussing if I were to keep him off the roster, it would be to effectively end another human being's dreams of something. I try to keep that crap in mind, guys. I try not to be, ridiculous about these things, man. I try to make sure that when I'm projecting one player in their dreams, like a Micah Morris, over another player in their dreams, like Michael Jordan, I do the best I can to hang these things on actual game tape, guys, and actual analytics. So that way it's just not some ridiculous take. It's tough, guys. I don't know how this thing's going to play out. I really, really do like the setup here. But ultimately, for every move you make, there's a subsequent move that can't be made. If you keep 11 offensive linemen, keeping Michael Jordan and Micah Morris to protect them, keeping Micah, even if you keep Micah Morris, you don't keep Michael Jordan, but you keep Micah Morris, and you get really, you keep a Willie Lampkin, that's going to be tough on you, right? If you're keeping Mailata, you're keeping Dickerson, you're keeping Jurgens, you're keeping Steen, you're keeping Lane Johnson, obviously. You're keeping Big Fred, You're going to keep Markel Bell, and you're going to keep Drew Kendall. Those are the 8 guys I know for a factor on this damn team. All right? I don't feel confident about projecting Jake Majors, guys. I think this is purely just for, like, the effects of if you're playing a preseason game right now. All right? So now you keep a Michael Jordan. Now you're at a 9th player. Okay, and a 9th player could technically be your 53-man roster. But let's say, like, no, they're young. So now we keep a Micah Morris, right? Well, now if I wanted to keep a Miles Hinton or a Willie Lampkin or a Holland Pierce, right? A Jaden Roberts, a Cameron Williams, I got to keep an 11th player. I got to take from another position group. I got to take from receiver. I got to take from tight end. I got to take from, running back. I got to take from the secondary, defensive backs. I got to, what I'm saying, the interior D-line. Somewhere, some way, a player's got to come off the board then. Somebody else has got to come free because I'm keeping this extra player. So, like, even in the situation where we keep our starting 5, we keep our 8, Fred Johnson, Markel Bell, Drew Kendall, you keep a 9th, let's say it's, Michael Morris, you keep a 10th, let's say it's Willie Lampkin. Even in that situation, if I also wanted to keep like a Hinton, like a Miles Hinton, or I wanted to keep a Jaden Roberts, or I wanted to keep a Cameron Williams, it's an 11th player, guys. It's problematic. All right, guys, that's what I got for you, man. Let me know your thoughts. Just give me a quick list of what, tell me one thing first, right? 9, 10, or 11 offensive linemen. What do you think it is? And then I'm not going to hold you to it, guys. It's not like if, a month from now we see that these predictions are really wrong. I mean, how could you know right now? But to the best of your ability right now, how would you stack these guys? What are your 9, your 10, or your 11? Give me the number, then tell me how you would actually stack these guys. All right, y'all, if you like content like this and you want to see more content like this, look to your right, guys, and I'll throw you up something that has to do with either a player evaluation or, some kind of a film breakdown. And then look to your left up at the very top, guys. And I'll do you a solid, and I'll throw you another video like that up there. So that way you can continue these kind of conversations and, and learning a little bit more about the Eagles. And if you look down to the very bottom, guys, you can click my channel if you want to join the Cerebral Football community. We would love to have you. Just got to hit that subscribe button, guys. And with that said, thank you all so much for hyping these videos up when you hype them up. And I'm about to jump off here, guys. Peace. I'm out of here.